We stopped recording and then started recording. Okay, fine. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Hey, good morning, folks. Today is 13th January 2023, first meeting of IBM CAPI IBM for 2023. Welcome all. And also, this is for a very long time we are meeting online. So I think last time we had offline. So yeah, of course, we didn't record the session, but yeah. So this is something. Yeah, I mean, we do have good cap, is what I see. All right, so we can go ahead and then see, like, I'm not sure when we met last time, don't remember the date, anyways. Um, but maybe we'll talk through if any of the important features we pushed. And meanwhile, in last 1 month or so, right? Features, releases, backlog we'll discuss, okay? Okay, going back to history, maybe we can start from what, December, right? The cluster class, I think we discussed last time, right? I'm not wrong.
Yes, Manju.
Okay. Um, I think we can discuss from here. Um, I remember we haven't met, maybe. Yeah, deprecation. So we did. When we did some work in terms of the APIs and all that, but we found that this is not the best way of doing it. Again, not this one. We reverted, I think so. Something, yeah, we just reverted the change to have a better way of fixing the SSH keys and all that. So we introduced a new release, so not new version, I believe. Yeah, so that's the reason we just reverted it back. So I think we'll discuss about the new API and all that, what we added and all that. Yeah, this is just a documentation change for cluster class. Yeah, so yeah, this is the PR which talks about removing some of the alpha APIs and then adding V1 beta 2 APIs. Prajot, you maybe like want to quickly,
Okay, Manju,
talk
sure.
about this one.
Yeah. So in this PR, we basically removed the older alpha versions, that is alpha 3 and alpha 4 that we had. And then we introduced the beta V1, beta 2 API version, right? So initially it was directly just a clone of the beta 1 itself with the required changes. And the main reason or behind this was that as previously mentioned, right? So we were trying to support SSH key name, but then we reverted because the conversion was not happening as required, right? So to get the base APIs in a more stable format, right? So then the conversions can be done easier from that. So now we have just two APIs, beta 1 and beta 2. So the just direct conversions between beta 2 to beta 1 and beta 1 to beta 2, right? So just to
Yeah,
ensure that the better conversion and we follow the principles of the conversions properly, right? So we tried, we got rid of the alpha and then we introduced beta 2 versions and then did the necessary changes on top of that. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, the reason behind removing those alpha APIs are like basically like uh, they were too old, so not many of people were using anyway. So I think we have beta 1, which was like more stable. Then that's the reason we just thought like, we'll remove those alpha APIs. So because even it becomes very difficult to maintain them going forward. So if nobody is using it. So the second reason is like, if you have those APIs around, so you'll end up writing a lot of these conversion functions and then whatnot. So also it is going to be little difficult if you don't manage or if you don't maintain the backporting, like backward compatibility and all that. Then it was becoming headache. So I think we just removed them. So to keep it simple and then less, um, management headache, right? So Those are the couple of reasons. Yeah, initially, as Prajot mentioned, so initial part of this PR, we just copied over everything from beta 1 to beta 2, and then later we submitted changes for tweaking beta 2, whatever required that we have done. Okay. Um, yeah, so next we did some changes in terms of adopting the release version of Cluster API and then sticking to whatever Chinko and stuff, I believe, sticking to some version of Chinko. That we have done, and then okay. So manage VPC boot volume. So this is another interesting work item I have done. Part of this is because okay, so this is basically like, the main requirement for this was, while deploying, or okay, so this is the main issue what I kind of tried solving it. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the deployment, right? So the image size, we have this image size and all that, right? So let's say if your image size is 20 GB, so without this PR, so we can deploy a cluster only with 20 GB. So that's the restriction we have at the moment. I mean, before this PR, because we're just using the specs or values, whatever. We're not really modifying anything while deploying the VM. So we're just using the image size as is. But there was a requirement saying that because 20 GB sometimes is very less, right? Because people sometimes tend to add or tend to run a lot of workload, and then you end up like using more and more disk space. Um, but which was not allowed before. And then what we thought is like, there is this, in VPC, we can contain that, or we can change the disk size while deploying itself. So that's the, changes we have taken care of part of this PR. And we have introduced, or have introduced one spec under like IBM machine spec called boot volume. So yeah, that in terms will contain some of these like configurations, what you really want to have, what kind of parameter you really want to pass for that boot volume, right? So it's not just size we are handling, so we're also kind of handling whether you really want to kind of delete that volume while deleting the VM. So by default, it is true. If user wants to retain their boot disk after the deletion of VM, so they can do that. So that, and then size. So yeah, so size is exactly the parameter what we tried solving here. So this is basically will kind of like, if you just mention like whatever value here, so this will make sure that it will just use that value for deploying your boot disk. So that one we have. And also like profile we have added. So that is mainly meant for like if you want to kind of use different kind of disk, right? For example, like different tier disks like 5 ops or IOPS, 10 IOPS or whatever. So, and of course that the custom is also supported. So in case if you want to add your own IOPS, so even that is supported. So yeah, these are like some of the the VPC deployment options in the deployment API itself, so that we have added. And then also I have added encryption key CRL. Yeah, I think this is more or less useful when you have the encryption enabled for your boot volume. So this is, I just wanted to have this. I mean, right now we are not using it anywhere, but so eventually like your a secure containers, or not basically a secure boot sort of thing, right? So there we can use um, key protector and whatnot. So basically for encrypting your boot disk, and then validating during the creation and then whatnot. So that's where it is useful. Yeah, this we can use this maybe value while doing some sort of a solution in terms of making your boot disk secure and then whatnot. So far I haven't explored this option, but I just mentioned I kind of expose this option via spec, so that if you want to build the solutions, we can build on top of that. But any questions as of now? The spec changes? Yes, no? Okay.
No questions from my end.
And then I have done some validation as well. So there are some validations if what if like the bill like the disk size goes below 10 or goes above 250, whatever I think it says. So some error. Then of course like the IOPS cannot submit if it is not custom. So even that we are validating here. Yeah, so blindly we are accepting encryption key CRN as of now. We are not validating the CRN format, so that can be enhanced in terms of validating the format as well while creation. So this is why webbook, basically the validation so webbook. And added some tests and the same spec added in beta 2 as well. Yeah, I think yeah, this is again webbook thing here. So just skip this as well. Yeah, I mean, the main code went in here, right? I mean, the scope where if boot volume is not null, um, yeah, we are just taking the spec value and then, composing this, populating this structure for the boot volume. So this is what internally will be used while deploying of your VPC. So this is what the field in VPC structure will get attached. And yeah, basically the name, if it is not like mentioned, so we are just uh, yeah, if it is not, if it is mentioned, so we're just using the name from the spec, or else like we're just keeping a similar way for other parameters as well. So we'll just use them if it is mentioned in the spec. Yeah, ultimately we are just returning the boot volume, which is of type boot volume instance image context, whatever.
Manju, so this boot volume is optional by default, right? In the spec.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, if you see here, so yeah, there's an optional. So if you specify only in, then it'll just take these values. Otherwise, it'll just sort of use us whatever default image size.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Oh yeah, so that's pretty much what we have done in spec scope, and then yeah, this is all generated ones. Yeah, I just added one quick thing here for bootstrap waiting. So it was waiting for the next loop, right? Whatever, like I think period, sync period or whatever. So, but I just wanted to, it was taking more time. Just made sure that I just waits for 1 minute for the bootstrap. And then added some doc for that and added some spec as well. So yeah, the 20 is what we made default as of now for the boot volume because our image size is 20, so that's the reason we just made it. I mean, somehow I just wanted to expose this value to the user, so that's the reason I just added this here. So yeah, I mean, of course, it's not really mandatory, but I'm in the spec, I'm just making mandatory because I just want to expose this to user. That's the reason. And yeah, this is for control plane, and then this is for worker. So you can have your own control, like yeah. So that's pretty much about these features. Any questions? Okay. And then refactor the make file. I think I have done some make file refactoring as well because we were not, following proper naming conventions there. So we just prefixed and then place some of these generate stuff like properly, and then yeah, it's more of like refactoring all these generate modules. Yeah. And then I just removed the one file where if I star lark whatever, so it's not been used in our code. Uh, Oh yeah, so this one I've added. So this is mainly for the API reference. So this particular site I got, and this seems to be interesting one. So I thought I'll just add that. So and then let me just open that up. So that um, let's yeah. So this is what it looks like. I can see the version of your release. So I think it just shows the released versions. I think Alpha Zero is the latest, whatever. Yeah, unfortunately, it is not listing Beta 2 because Beta 2 is not at part of the release. Yeah, so maybe if you just release another Alpha, so you will see. But yeah, this is how it looks like. One can just go and then maybe explore VPC machine. It gives you a nice view saying like the image, what all fields you have, required string, and then some descriptions what you put in. So this is pretty much very useful when we someone wants to go and then explore. Yeah, this becomes very handy, right? So that's the reason I just added this link. And yeah, this tool is basically like automatically it does, like, I mean, you don't need to do anything, so you just need to onboard your project once and that's it. So it just scans through your entire repository and then it will find whatever spec you have and then it will just expose them. Not sure why it is quoting all this Calico stuff. Not sure. Yeah. So these are the other uh, specs we have for power and then VPC. Any questions? Uh, yes, yes. So then this is update to Golang. I'll skip a lot of updates. Update to cluster API. Pretty straightforward changes. Don't see anything which is like self-explanatory, I believe. And then we did add support for image SSH keys and the image name. So what do you, Rajot?
Yeah, thanks, Manju. So before starting with this, right? So the major idea behind adding SSH key name and ID was that in VPC we want to ultimately enable the E2E, right? So uh, in there we didn't have the so the every SH key and the image, right? So they are kind of isolated in the different regions, right? So each one of them has a different ID, and that kind of doesn't suit scenario, right? While testing E2E, so we wanted to have something common. So we after supporting name for both the SH key and name, we can have image and SH key with the same names in a different region. So that means we can use a single name and image, right, to fetch the details in any of these regions, right, and then go ahead with our to test. So yeah, so in this PR we try to do that. So we tried to, in the beta 2 version, we tried to replace the type of the existing image and SH keys, right, with the IBM VPC resource reference, right, which is nothing but a kind of data type which supports both the ID and the name. So yeah, it is up to the user whether he wants to specify the ID or the name. And also in the beta 1 version, we have added two additional fields, which is SH key name and also image name, right? So these two fields were added to ensure the converge as per the principles that are in place, right? So whenever there is a conversion from beta 2 to beta 1, we want to ensure that no information is being lost, so that when we again do a conversion from beta 1 back to beta 2, right, all the information is still uh, existing, right? So nothing is lost. So so to give you an example, if you try to convert a SH key, right, which has a name specified in beta 2, if we try to do that and then to convert it to beta 1, then the name will be going in the SSH key names parameter, right? And if it was ID, it will go in the SSH keys parameter. Similarly, for image, if name was specified in beta 2, while conversion in beta 1, it will go into image name. And if it was ID in beta 2, it will go into the image. So this way, we ensure that the conversion from beta 1 to beta 1, no information is lost. And same way, if you want to convert back from beta 1 to beta 2, we ensure that the details are still there. Yeah, and yeah, so these were the field changes and the spec changes that we did to support the name and ID, right, for both image and SH keys. Yeah.
And yeah, cool. And then some conversions and all that added for in terms of to make sure that we convert properly types from beta 1 to beta 2 and beta 2 to beta 1 as well. Okay. Yeah. So any questions? Yeah, and I think as we discussed, I think a couple of days back, right? So the type, so these Povius machine API and all that, they have this type here, right? So that also we need to explore if do we really need that or what value add that will give you and all that, right? So yeah, let's maybe, Shruti, I'm not sure if you want to create a task or something, or how do you want to tackle that?
Yes, Manju. So I'll be creating tasks for the entire API spec changes that we have, right? So inside that, I'll be creating multiple subtasks. So I'll add it as a part of that.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, see, Amulya joined back. You dropped off from the call.
Yeah, I don't know, there was a slight network issue and I had to
Okay,
connect. Yeah.
okay, no problem. Any questions? We were discussing about this image key and image names.
No, no, nothing from.
Right, thank you. And we have this CAPI update, CAPI version update, so 2.2. And okay, so we added this external cloud provider support for VPC. So Karthik, you want to mention?
Yeah, Manju. So basically, the CCM, the cloud control manager, is one more control plane controller, so which takes care of communicating with the cloud provider. In our case, it's the IBM Cloud. So basically, it runs as a daemon set or a deployment within your cluster. In our case, the workload cluster. So one of the prerequisite for it to have is the provider ID. So which is basically mapping the machine with the node. So the currently we are using cloud provider which is hosted in the OpenShift repository, and we have the necessary jobs to build a image out of it. So in that we follow provider ID format, as you can see maybe in the top, I think,
It's in the top.
yeah, in the power, yeah, here in the line 442.
Yeah,
So yeah, sorry, the 444.
yeah. I think this one. So
No,
this was
yeah,
the older one, right?
yeah, that's the older one,
Yeah,
which has only the cluster name and the machine name.
yeah.
But what is followed by the IBM cloud provider is that it should have account ID along with the cluster name and the VM instance ID. So this format. So we need to make sure that we set this provider ID properly in the machine spec, so that even the node will also the provider ID for the node will be set by the cloud provider. So both will match. So you eventually have a running node. So this is one of the prerequisite to add this feature. But with the help of the CCM, what the advantage we get is that whenever we create a service of type load balancer, the CCM will take care of creating the load balancer in the IBM cloud, so that the user can easily access their deployments via the load balancer service. Uh,
Yeah,
apart,
so I think that spec change, the
yeah,
template has been changed in terms of adding that deployment here, right?
yeah, correct. So the CCM requires couple of cloud configs and the secrets. So I have updated template to create this deployment as well as the configs as well as secrets. So those three things.
Daemon set as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think in order to, if you want to use this, I think you might need to use this spec. I believe. I think you need to export these values here.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, the intention there is like, we'll just keep modifying this load balancer template. Then that will become like, sort of the go-to template, for VPC. And then once we kind of like, we do all the modifications, maybe we'll just make this as by default template in the future, right? So at the moment, I know it is kind of experimental stage, but yeah, once we have everything done, and then once we know like everything settles, so we can make this template as default. That's the plan.
Yeah.
All right. I think we covered most of it. Yeah. So as you mentioned, so if you're using Tilt, so you need to kind of use this provider ID format equals to v2. I should just use this proper provider ID. Yeah. So that's pretty much. Okay. Sorry. Start clicking on right. Yeah, that's about that. And then there were some. Emily was still there.
Yes, Manju, I rejoined again.
Okay. And maybe just talking through this one.
Okay, so right now our E2E flow only supports Power VC, I mean running tests on Power VS. So this we have added some changes to enable running even VPC tests with Bosco. So not much, minimal change. We are just I just added a passing an argument of whether it is a VPC service or a Power VS service. By default, it's Power VS service. And if our flavor is VPC, then we just change the resource type to VPC service, and we are passing that while we are checking out a resource from Boscos. And above, we are just exporting whatever variables we need for VPC as well, like resource group and region, which we are fetching from the user data of the Boscos resource. And yeah, pretty much that. So with this change, we'll be able to like run the VPC tests using the resources from Boscos.
Cool. Now do we have all the configuration like in the account to run these tests on VPC, or we still?
Yeah, one last thing is pending from my end is I have to just change those configurations in the cluster to add like VPC resources. So once that's done, we are good to merge the job and start running the tests.
Okay, so let me know whenever you're done with that. So
Yeah, mostly by today. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll start running something.
Yeah, sure. Manju.
Cool. Thank you. Those are the things what we delivered in past couple of weeks. To releases, I think I'm still waiting for the refactoring, right? I think so. Still, I'm waiting for the VS refactoring. So once we do that, I think I'll just will release another, or we will release 0.4 once we have the proper spec changes merged. So I'm waiting for that. Oh, so there is this new PR submitted by Karthik. I will take a look at it. So,
It's basically the code structure and the initial implementation for the IBM, the admin tool.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I just changed the copyright years. I think it
Yeah,
shows.
yeah, correct. Yeah, I will change.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, I think I'm not sure why tests are failing. So,
Uh,
just fix the test. I'll just review as well.
yeah, sure. So that's because of package documentation. I missed to add that.
Okay, okay. Let's do that. Um, and do you mind maybe Karthik adding a PR for pushing the proposal as well somewhere?
Yes, Manju, I'm planning to add that under documentation and enhancement. Currently, there is one, I think I will submit one more under that.
Yeah, let's do that first,
Yeah,
and then or maybe I'm not sure. Maybe yeah, I think it's good to push that as an independent PR
yeah,
before this one, so that is kind of aware of what we're trying to do.
yeah, sure.
Okay. Then coming back to backlogs. Oh man. Okay. There are a lot of next. Okay, so let's discuss or let's see what all tagged for 3.4 and see where we stand. Enhance C2E test to use image import. So this is not still. I think we can push to next release. Nothing urgent for this one, right?
Yeah, Manju, we can do that.
And I'm not sure what all we explored. Cluster class is already explored, right, Karthik?
Yes, Manju. For Power BI side, it's explored and it's completed. Similar can be done for Power V, the VPC as well.
VPC.
Yeah,
Still, we have a lot of work there as well, right?
yeah.
Um, we will change this to both of these to next release because still we have good amount of
Yeah.
work.
The machine health is nothing but machine health check, right? That's what Prajot
Yeah,
did.
yeah, machine health check, yes. And sure, what shows this? We don't have any item for refactoring Power VS spec, right? Yes. So this was pending. Okay, so then maybe I'll just tag stone should be in 4.x. Yeah, just feed more and more information here, Prajot.
Yes, Manju, yeah, I'll add those.
Uh, so then we'll go to the one which doesn't have milestones, and then we'll decide when we want to, you know. Uh, to scalers, so we'll push to next release if that's fine. Pick or whoever wants to work.
Yeah, Manju, next should be fine.
There's nothing stopping. This one I need to talk to the niche what it really meant. When this goes to next. We book for
This we added as a part of the cluster class support.
oh, even this can go to next release. It's
Yeah.
fine. Enhance get account ID. So the functionality is not breaking, right? It's just that optimization you're trying
Yeah,
to do here,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
This can wait. Because I'm just trying to see if we can merge something as soon as possible and merge and then release, right? So that's what I'm looking at. Um, this can be, we don't know if we can just push to next one. The deprecation, so how do you want to do it? I think so you want to do it in this release or next one or
I think we can do it. I think when I get chance, I will do it. So simply couple small changes required.
okay.
Yeah.
So then I
When is
can tag.
release plan? Oh,
Yeah, basically I'm just waiting for Karthik's spec change and then we'll review and then maybe it might take another um, maybe I'm looking at mid of next month sometime
yeah, I think we can.
because
But by then we can finish this.
yeah, because I don't want to hurriedly and then you know uh,
Yeah.
raise it because we definitely want to make sure that we test it properly and then we get used to with a new spec and all that, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the PR like we'll just try to merge the code as soon as possible and then we'll try to test it and then use it
Yeah.
and confirm it just works fine. Okay. Anything we're missing? Let me see what we have for 3.4. Yeah, these are the three stuff what we have. Anything we're missing for the release? Okay, this need owner. This we don't need, right? I mean, I don't know why I tagged 0.4.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. See if can do next and see if anything needed for this release. Add estimation, no CLI tools for admin purpose. But this is the one you're working, right? At the moment?
Yeah, Manju. The one I raised up here.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, I mean, of course, I see that you already submitted a code, so we can, yeah, of course, the initial coding and then whatever, so we can start pushing into this release and then, but I'm not really targeting the entire code to be done in this release, so we can spread across
Yeah.
multiple releases, so that's fine.
Yeah.
This we discussed, bootstrap, custom, okay, this is not required, so if we look at the next. Follow the CAPI API logging standards. This is something other.
Yeah, I think I did submit a PR previously to update the existing one.
Like, did we fix everything, or do you think still we need to kind of go through this and then still?
Yeah, I think we need to check again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this can wait, I believe. So
Yeah.
nothing urgent, anyways. This is more of a like cleanup stuff sort of a job.
Yeah.
This is something we should try, but yeah, maybe next release. Use custom port for API server for Power users. Okay, this can also wait. This can wait. This can wait. Machine pool. This can wait. Yeah, so I think we are good. Nothing really want to kind of. Yeah, so priorities. Maybe I'll take some time and later, and then I'll just put priority to these items so that we can really sort by priority, and then we can pick up whatever the urgent ones. Yeah, these are the backlogs. And then yeah, backlogs we discussed. And stone we have owners for all the OK work items. Yeah, feel free to create any issues if you think something is missing. Discuss and then we'll see. Anything else? Or discuss any other topics?
Nothing, Manju.
VPC end to end, are we tracking the task somewhere? End to end test for VPC? It's not there, right?
Not there, I think, Manju. And Amulya also drop, I guess.
Okay,
So
just
yeah.
we test one, we test. Just make you as sorry, Rajat you as a primary owner. So we just work with her and then get this done.
Okay, Manju.
Okay, so anything else, guys?
No, Manju, nothing from my end.
All right. Nothing else. We'll close the call. Thank you. We'll meet again.
Yeah,
Maybe
thank
in
you.
next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice
Thanks,
day and
Manju.
weekend. Bye bye.
Yeah,
yeah, bye.
bye.